Vice President Kamala Harris, the runner-up to the 47th U.S. presidential elections, has identified herself as Black, South Asian, Indian American, African American, and Jamaican American. But there is part of her who is white. In this video, I'm going to go through her family tree and show how she is linked to the English, and through a common ancestor can connect herself to the British royal family in the 1500s. So, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Here on Mortal Faces, I go through family trees. Lots more on my channel. Subscribe for more trees and let me know in the comments who you'd want to see next. It's the 1400s and you're a little DNA. Henry VII, King of England's to be precise. With Elizabeth of York, your DNA doesn't go to Princess Margaret or Henry VIII, rather the youngest daughter Mary. Mary marries Sir Charles Brandon, and you travel to Lady Frances Brandon, their daughter. She married Lord Henry Grey, Duke of Suffolk, Marquess of Dorset Grey, and they have Catherine Grey. You're now part of Catherine. She had a close claim to the English throne after Henry VIII's children, Edward, Mary, and Elizabeth. However, got on bad terms with Elizabeth. But Catherine married Edward Seymour, the nephew of Jane Seymour, Henry VIII's third wife, and two boys pop out. Edward and Thomas. History made you go through Thomas Seymour. He had Eileen, who had Margaret, who had Robert, John, Abigail, Charity, and Mary. It is now the 1700s and Mary Parsons married the first Harris Robert. Up until now, you remained in England, but with their child Richard, he moved to Jamaica, and that is where you ended up. He met a girl, Mary Hugum Royes, and the two of you had a son, Thomas Harris. He was described as a free man of color. What this means is Mary Hugum Royes, his mother, was probably black. If Richard was black, it means either Mary Parsons or Robert Harris was black. And during the time of British slavery, it was too risky and unlikely to be in an intermarriage. If Mary Hugum Royes was a colored woman, it means she could have been a slave or a freed colored woman. If she was a slave, Thomas Harris could have been bought free by his father Richard. All possibilities, we don't know the real truth. Either way, Thomas Harris, a free man of color, married Jane Watson, and they had James Henry Harris, who married Elizabeth Brown. They had Joseph Alexander Harris. This is what he looked like. He is clearly mixed, and he was a prominent businessman in Jamaica. Joseph married Christiana Brown, who had Oscar Harris. Christiana Brown was a descendant of a slave who had a child with her Irish plantation owner, Hamilton Brown. You see, with Oscar, he got married in 1952 to Vioris Cambridge. But then in 1963, a new article appears about the marriage of his son Donald. But Vioris is not listed as the mother, rather another woman, Beryl Finnegan. Odd to be married and have an out-of-wedlocked child published would be humiliating to Vioris, unless they were divorced? But I don't see any records of that. Then in 1970, a marriage certificate of one, Enid Maud Harris, states the father of Enid is Oscar, but the mother is another woman, Pearline Curry. Not sure what happened to Pearline, but Vioris died in 2019 and Beryl 1995. Either way, however Oscar decided to fling himself around, history puts you little DNA into Donald Harris. Donald was born in Jamaica and moved to the U.S. for graduate studies at the University of California, Berkeley. He became a professor at Stanford. While in graduate school, he met Shyamala Gopalan, the daughter of a civil servant in India. She was there studying as well. They were married from 1963 to 1971 in America, and in 1964, Kamala was born in California and her younger sister Maya in 1967. Maya had a daughter with an unknown man. Her name is Mina. Maya married Tony West in 1998. Mina married Nicholas Ajagu, and they have two young daughters, Amara and Leela. Kamala married a divorcee, Doug Emhoff, in 2014. He has two children from his first marriage, Cole and Ella. Here's the thing, though. If we go back to her 12th great-grandfather Thomas Seymour and instead travel down his elder brother's line, we would come out as a Lord Duke, Lady Jane Seymour, Earl, Marchioness, Duchess, a Bentinck, A Bentinck, Countess, the Queen Mother, then the Queen, and then King Charles III. And that makes Kamala and King Charles III 12th cousins, 5 times removed. So through Catherine Grey and Edward Seymour, they are both related. And King Henry VII is her distant ancestor. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more family trees, I do have lots more on my channel. Subscribe for more. Each of your subscriptions does help this channel grow. It allows me to continue making more content for you. Let me know in the comments who you'd want to see next. I do make a list of all your suggestions, and I will see you in the next one.